Have you ever planted a tree just to have it die shortly thereafter? Well, that sucks. And I'm here to show you a couple cool tricks. Make them stop doing that and live and thrive, and you can have a nice, healthy tree. Believe it or not, there's actual standards. We're going to go over a few of those. And believe me, this ain't my first rodeo. Let's get into it. Now, first things first, we want to make sure we've got the right tree for the location. You want to pick a tree that's going to do well and serve its purpose. So we picked this mountain laurel to be a nice tropical look while having a Texas native that's going to do really well in the environment and provide a little privacy. We don't want to just make sure we've got the right tree for the location. We want to make sure it's a nice, healthy tree. So check the leaves, make sure there's no discoloration. It's not like a yellowish color compared to other varieties of that same specimen. We want to check the roots, make sure they're good and strong, and we want to absolutely check the root flares to make sure they're at the right level. That way the tree doesn't get overloaded with water pool in there. We call it the teacup effect. That can very easily kill your tree. Next thing, we want to cut a hole that's 2 to 3 times the diameter of the container it's grown in. This seems completely unnatural and unnormal, but it's the right way to do it. And this was just recently, last year, updated in the ANSI planting standard. Now, real quick, I want you to note here, you see how it's slanted slightly inward? This is very important too. Most roots grow on the top 6 inches of the soil. So don't go too deep. All right, so we got our planting hole set. Worked up a nice little sweat. We want to make sure that the bottom is untampered with as is possible. Sometimes you got to break it up if there's roots. But if it does, we want to pack it down real good. You can use a flat shovel. You can just stomp on it a little bit. We want to make sure it's nice and compacted only at the bottom. What that'll do is make sure the tree doesn't move. It's a little more stable, and it's not going to settle over time. We're going to double check our size. You see here, we've got a tree. The height where the root flares are is right about just above where the soil grade is originally. We want to make sure, again, 2 to 3 times the width. Very important, most critical at the top, not as important in the very bottom. We want to encourage those roots to grow out very quickly. Moving on. Now we want to very gently go ahead and remove the tree from its planter. Gently now. Make sure you don't mess it up. Take the root ball, pull down, pull up, while moving the planter. And again, as we're going, we're double checking, making sure everything's right. Now the next step is my most favorite part. We're going to cut it up. We're going to mess it up real good. Believe it or not, this is written into the standards. So this is very important. You want to take a good, sharp, clean knife. Preferably if you can use like a little razor like this, get a clean blade, brand spanking new, no chance for co-infection, spreading diseases, and we want to cut it up. Now, this is the part that freaks people out. I'll have clients come out screaming at me saying, "What are you doing to my new tree?" But this is so critical because what we're doing, we're cutting it up and then we're spreading the roots out. Now, you can see this is already filling in part of the planting hole. So this is actually beneficial too, save you a little work. All this top stuff that's over the root flares, you want to make sure to cut that up and spread the roots outward. This is what's going to get your roots growing in the right direction and not all root bound and give you problems later on. Now, very simply, we're going to take our existing dirt, we're going to fill it back in. Now, let me make a special note here because I see this all the time. You've seen it where people create like a little berm around it to hold the water in. What that's going to do is encourage the roots to grow right in the planting hole and not outward. So believe it or not, I like to slope it down a little bit while making sure that water's still going to be in there. So it's a very subtle grade, but that's going to encourage, again, the water to move outwards and the roots to chase after it. Very important. Normally, you don't want to amend the soil at all. Maybe do a little top dressing with compost to feed the soil, feed the microbes, and add some beneficials in. However, because we ran out of soil, we want to add just a little bit on the top layer, and we're going to use this compost as a mulch. Now this next part is also pretty stinking fun, especially if you like demolition like me. What we're gonna do is we're gonna water it in, but not only that, we're gonna pack it down in there real good. We won't take away any water airspace that's in there. Make sure it's not gonna have trouble. The roots won't have trouble getting established, and this is gonna help do that. So we wanna water it in really, really, really good. And maybe you can see, but it's actually the soil level going down as I do this. And that tells me that there were air spaces, but now there's not. So go ahead and go around the entire tree, pack it in there real good. Obviously, don't damage the tree. That's not good. Go ahead and keep packing it in. And you're set. And that's it, y'all. If you notice, I worked up a nice sweat. Gardening is actually therapeutic in many ways. There's, believe it or not, there's bacteria in the soil that help produce serotonin in the brain. So this is a good thing. And, you know, it's been said that wisdom is planting a tree you'll never enjoy the labor and the fruits of. That's to say that, you know, planting a tree is a generational commitment. It's something that will benefit people many years down the road, many decades. So it's really a great thing. And so I encourage you to do that. Now, we want to wait until winter is the best time to do it. But these mountain laurels are real hardy, and we give them enough water, they're going to do just fine in this heat. I hope you learned a lot. Thanks so much for watching. This has been fun and sweaty. And if you have any questions, of course, drop a comment down below. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel too, where we're going to offer great tree tips all year round. Thanks so much. We'll see ya.